Arariboia's story begins along the warm, jagged coastline of Guanabara Bay, a place where the sea met the forest in a tangle of life, danger, and opportunity. He was born into the Temiminó nation, one of the great Tupi-speaking peoples who lived by the tides, carried their canoes along familiar currents, and viewed the world through a lens shaped by the rhythms of land and water. From childhood, Arariboia learned that survival depended on more than bravery. It demanded adaptability, an understanding of ever-shifting alliances, and the ability to read the intentions of enemy and friend alike. His people were embroiled in a long and bitter conflict with their coastal rivals, the Tamoio Confederation, a powerful alliance that included fierce warriors and villages that had long dominated the bay. These tensions formed the backdrop of Arariboia's early life, carving into him a deep sense of responsibility to defend his people from encroachment and erasure. Even before Europeans arrived, the bay was a contested landscape, and Arariboia quickly rose through the ranks as a fighter whose instincts, leadership, and confidence set him apart from his peers. When the Europeans arrived, the conflict that had once been indigenous against indigenous transformed into something far more complex. The French, led by Nicolas Durand de Villegagnon, attempted to establish France Antarctique on the very lands of Arariboias people had long controlled, unlike the Portuguese, who frequently enslaved indigenous peoples or forced them into labor. The French spent years cultivating political alliances with the Tamoios, their long-standing rivals. These new relationships shifted the balance of power in the region. The Tamoios, now equipped with European weapons, believed themselves unstoppable, and their ambitions grew with every new shipment of muskets that arrived on their shores. For Arariboia, the rising threat was clear. Without a powerful ally of their own, the Temiminó would be overrun. So he made a decision that would define his legacy. He allied with the Portuguese. This alliance was not made out of blind loyalty or admiration for foreign power, but out of strategic necessity. Arariboia understood that survival demanded adaptation, and adaptation demanded partnership with the force that could counter France and the Tamoio. The alliance forged between Arariboia and the Portuguese proved transformative. He quickly distinguished himself as one of the most capable indigenous commanders on their side, leading warriors in campaigns that helped the Portuguese regain a foothold in the region. He was not a passive participant, but an essential architect of the resistance against French ambitions. His warriors fought in canoes that skimmed across the bay waters with practiced ease. They executed ambushes in thick forests where European tactics failed. They moved swiftly, silently, and with deadly precision. Portuguese chroniclers described Arariboia as fearless, sharp-minded, and capable of inspiring loyalty in both indigenous and European allies. His battles were not fought for Portugal, but for the survival and sovereignty of his people. For he knew that if the Tamoios won, the Temiminó would cease to exist as a nation. The defining confrontation came in 1567, during the final push to expel the French from Guanabara Bay. The Portuguese commander Estácio de Sá launched a major offensive, but even with European troops and artillery, the campaign hinged on indigenous strategy. Arariboia and his warriors were indispensable, guiding Portuguese forces through unfamiliar terrain, attacking from the dense mangroves, and using their knowledge of the tides to maneuver in ways the French never anticipated. The battles were brutal and exhausting. Smoke from burning villages darkened the sky, and the screams of wounded fighters echoed across the water. The Tamoio warriors, supported by French musketeers, fought bitterly, determined to preserve the alliances they believed would secure their dominance. But Arariboia's relentless leadership broke their momentum. He fought with both cunning and fury, exploiting weaknesses in enemy formations and rallying his men with a presence that made even seasoned Portuguese captains follow his lead. By the end of the campaign, France's Antarctique collapsed. The French survivors fled, the Tamoio Confederation dissolved, and Guanabara Bay fell fully under Portuguese control. Victory, however, came at a devastating cost. Estacio de Sá was fatally wounded by an arrow, and many Temiminó warriors died in service of an alliance that, while mutually beneficial in the moment, was unequal by design. Yet the Portuguese knew one thing clearly: without Arariboia, they would have lost. Without Arariboia, Rio de Janeiro would not exist. To reward his loyalty, the Portuguese crown granted him land on the opposite side of the bay, territory that would one day become the modern city of Niterói. Arariboia was even baptized as Martam Afonso, receiving honorary status among colonial elites and donning European clothing on ceremonial occasions. But despite this outward transformation, he remained thoroughly Temiminó in his heart and worldview. His loyalty to Portugal never eclipsed his deeper loyalty to his people. Arariboia's later years revealed a man unafraid to confront the very power he had helped elevate. One of the most famous stories about him occurred during an encounter with António Salima, a Portuguese governor known for arrogance and cruelty. At a royal ceremony in Rio de Janeiro, Salima attempted to humiliate Arariboia by forcing him to sit on the cold stone floor while Europeans used chairs. Arariboia, seeing the insult for what it was, rose to his feet, locked his sharp gaze on the governor, and declared that he preferred the earth beneath him to any chair that such a man might offer. The room fell silent. Europeans watched as the warrior who had saved their colony confronted the governor to his face without fear. This moment became legendary, a symbol of his uncompromising dignity and refusal to be treated as lesser by those who depended on his leadership. Even after receiving land from the Portuguese crown, Arariboia continued defending both his people and the Bay region. He protected routes essential for trade, mediated conflicts between indigenous communities and colonial settlers, and used his influence to preserve Temiminó autonomy in ways that few indigenous leaders under colonial rule ever achieved. His strategic vision extended beyond the war. He envisioned a future in which his people could coexist with a growing colonial presence without being erased by it. This balance was delicate, fragile, and constantly threatened, but his leadership helped maintain it for years after the French were gone. Arariboia's legacy is profound. The very name Niterói, derived from indigenous words meaning hidden water, speaks to the relationship between land and people that he defended throughout his life. The modern city stands as a testament to his leadership, a permanent reminder of the Temiminó nation that once dominated the region. Follow for more history they never taught us in school.